Okay, I'm back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a very simple feature to this application. It'll be real simple, but I'm not trying to demonstrate the feature. I'm trying to demonstrate that when I add something to my local environment, I can use Git with GitHub to push it out there to GitHub and then use SSH to log into my web server and do a pull. So this right here, these two tabs I have open right here are both on my web server. So this one right here is my staging environment for this application. Notice that there's a 01 on the domain name there. So what I do is when I go from the local environment, I first push it to the staging environment and give it a test. And then if that all works well, then I push it to the production environment. And this, by the way, is this tab here. I have my GitHub account open. Now, there's my picture, but this picture is about 20 years old. I now have gray hair and a lot less of it. And but you know, I don't take a picture of myself very often, so that's the picture they get. And these are the repositories I currently am maintaining. Most of these, not most of them, some of these, like these two are part of a tutorial. But the Daily Berry and the Real Estate Agency are projects that I am working on now. And the flavor list is how the Daily Berry got started. So you're welcome to browse through all those and see my code that I've done. But this, of course, will be the one that you're going to want to focus on. This is what we're working on now. So here's the feature that I'm going to add. If I go to, I can do this from either the dashboard and go to calendars. See, I just get a blank page that says the word calendar. Or I can be on either the two that are sort of done and go up here to the navigation bar, and I get to the same problem. And that's also true of specials. And that I don't even have the word specials there. I just have that. But we're going to focus on this calendars. Now the way that's working is that in my web routes, I have a resource controller called calendars, but I'm using the flavor date controller. The controller is not the same name as the URL endpoint. And the reason for that is, and I'm going to go back out to the web browser. If I go to the diagram here, you see the table I'm calling flavor dates because it's a list of flavor dates. Each record is a flavor date that's attached to a flavor and attached to a store. But end users, I'm anticipating what they're going to be going through. They don't know that term. That's more of a database related term. They know the term calendars. So just like when you go to one of the stores, each of the flavors that's going to go into this calendar is a flavor date. Okay, so here's one of the records right there that I was working on, but I don't want to do any more of that. I want to get to this feature here where I'm going to put something here, anything at all. So what I've done is over here I've gone ahead in the views area. So here's the views folder, and I have calendars, and I went ahead and made an index blade. It's real simple. It's got my app layout. Oh, I should change this too. Okay, so I set this up while I was had the video paused. But I did the typical thing that I do. I added the padding top div and then my main level divs. And by the way, I don't always use all three of these. A lot of times I just use the one and I get rid of these two here. But there has to be some content in the middle. So I just put a quick paragraph in there. This calendars will go here. So if we can see that, then the feature has been added. So the web route tells you that I'm using this flavor date controller, which I have open right here. And here's the index. Now right here, I'm just returning the word calendar. But obviously what I really want to do is I want to return a view. And it's going to be called calendars.index. Select off the list there. And in addition to that, with the newer PHP and Laravel 10, they think it's best, they say that it's best practices to tell the program what it's going to be returning. So that's a return data type. Now I have to import that class. And it'll be this one right there. Okay. So if I get that to work, I should be able to push that out. Let's go to my local environment first and hit this. And sure enough, there it is. There's the app layout, and there's the text that I wrote in that paragraph. So that wasn't too hard to add it to my local environment. But as you can see, some of these letters over here are part of GitHub that I have integrated through an extension with VS Code. And you can do a lot of the pushes and stuff from that. Actually, I guess it's right here. But I don't like to do that. I like to use the terminal. But it's good to have these visual things telling you when you've either made a change or added a new field or new file or something like that. So that's all good. So I have it all saved the way I want. I'm going to go back out to the terminal. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run npm run build. That's an important first step, because if I push the changes out without doing this, then not all the Tailwind CSS gets pushed out with it. So run that first, which basically, analyzes what I've done and prepares your JavaScript and CSS files. And then I'm going to run git add. Actually, before I do that, let me just go to status. I don't usually do this, but just for the demonstration. See, so these are some of the things that need to be added to the local repository. So I say git add space dot, very common. Gives you this little warning about control return line feeds. That's no big deal. And then I say git commit, but of course you have to give it a message, and I'm going to say adds. You try not to use past tense. Adds the first calendar view. All right. So now it's committed. Now what I want to do is I just want to do git push. And that right there pushed it out to my repository. And I can verify that by going to the repository and having a quick look. If I go to resources, views, calendars, there's the index view. And if I also come back over to HTTP, controllers, flavor date controller, there's the new return view. So it did get pushed out there properly. Now the big challenge is to use terminal PowerShell and I'm going to SSH to my server. Oops, not dot, but at. Now it's telling me to enter the passphrase, but I don't have to at this point actually, because I'm running SSH agent, so I can just get there. So from there, a lot of times again I do ls-l to see what I got, but this one's going to be a much busier list. But Dailyberry and Dailyberry 01 are the two that I want to get to. So let me clear that screen and change into that directory. But I want to go to the 01 first because that's my staging domain. And I want to do a git pull. Now this time I will have to enter the code, the passphrase. So I'm copying it on another screen. And in terminal, what you do is you right click to paste. And so looks like I got it. I can test that by going to the staging environment. Here I am on 01. I can update this or refresh this and hit calendars, and sure enough, there it is. If I go to the production environment, it's not there yet. See, it still has the problem. So come back over to the PowerShell and change directories into Dailyberry instead of Dailyberry 01 and do a git pull. I have to paste in the passphrase again, and something got, let me pause the video and figure that out. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that was. It was asking me for a commit message, but I didn't think I needed to commit on the server. But it all worked out. I wrote in a message, and then it went ahead and merged it all together. So if I go back over here to my production environment, I can see that I do have that feature now. So other than one little hiccup about a commit message, and I'll have to look into that and figure out why it asked me for that. But that's how I use Git to push from my local environment to my GitHub server, and then pull from my GitHub server to my staging domain first. And if all goes well, then I pull to my production domain. So I'm going to do one more video just to say goodbye and summarize some conclusions.